Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The respectable of the juries, dear my friends who participate this speech contest, and my loving brothers and sisters, how is it going? I hope all of you are always healthy and happy. Let me introduce myself. My name is Ahmad Ismail. I am an English literature student at Sunan Kalijaga. And first of all, I'd like to thank God Almighty who has given me such deeply enjoyable, particularly faith and healthy comfort. Hence, I could participate in this speech contest in a good situation. Indeed, it is an absolute honor and privilege for me to be standing here to deliver my speech to the most honorable audiences entitled Pancasila will never ever die. Ladies and gentlemen, as we know that 1st June has become a national holiday in our country, Indonesia, since 2016. So why could that day become a national holiday? Why? The answer is because on that day, the Indonesian people commemorate the Pancasila Day. And as Indonesian citizens, of course, we have already learned and understood about the history of Pancasila since we were in elementary school. Pancasila was born on 1st June in 1945 when our first president, Mr. Sukarno, gave a famous speech to the Committee for Preparatory Work of Indonesian Independence, aka BPUPKI, wherein he delivered the five principles of Pancasila that later on would become the guidelines for all Indonesian people and the foundation of the huge and the diverse nation. My dear loving brothers and sisters, we must know that Pancasila was born in order to unite the diversity among Indonesian people. We know that our people in Indonesia are not a homogeneous society, but a heterogeneous society. We all might have different cultures, beliefs, traditions, and even religions, but still we could live together in this diversity because we have the five principles of Pancasila as our guidelines and our ways of life. So, diversity is not a matter at all, but diversity makes us become much stronger to live together in this country. But in recent days, there is a big challenge for Pancasila to deal with in its position as the only one ideology that exists in Indonesia. So what that big challenge is, my dear loving brothers and sisters, we must realize that our ideology of Pancasila in Indonesia is being threatened by another ideology, which is called Khilafah ideology. And this is a serious problem for all of us because Khilafah ideology is 100% different from Pancasila and even against Pancasila. We should know that Khilafah ideology has a goal to change our country to become an Islamic state, which is against our principle of diversity. We understand that not only a Muslim who is living in this country, but also a Christian, a Catholic, a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Confucian, and many other believers. Therefore, we should be careful and be aware of this Khilafah ideology because many people have become terrorists and extremists because of this ideology. And if we, as Indonesian citizens, are not careful and not aware of this ideology, our nation surely will be destroyed. Our people will be divided. Our diversity will disappear, and our Pancasila will die. But that supposes not to happen and never ever happen. Ladies and gentlemen, since we have already understood with the problem of Khilafah ideology and we also realized how dangerous that ideology is, now we should strengthen our principle of Pancasila in this country. And this is our task as Indonesian young generation to keep Pancasila alive and strong in this country. It is important for us not only to memorize the five principles of Pancasila in our brain, but also to practice the five values of Pancasila in our daily life. We should also deeply understand the essential meaning of the five principles of Pancasila. We must not ignore Pancasila because if not us who protect and preserve Pancasila, then who will? No one else. So here, I'm going to remind you about the five principles of Pancasila. The first principle is believe in the Almighty God. And the second principle is just and civilized humanity. And the third principle is the unity of Indonesia. And the fourth principle is democracy guided by the inner wisdom of deliberations among representatives. And the fifth or the last principle is social justice for the whole people of Indonesia. And in the conclusion, my dear loving brothers and sisters, I would say that we as Indonesian generation should keep Pancasila alive and strong in this country. We must hold Pancasila tightly in our souls. Pancasila is not only in our mind, but also in our heart. Pancasila is not only writing on words, but also carried out into action. And Pancasila is the only one ideology that exists in Indonesia, nothing else. And the last thing, Pancasila will never ever die. And that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention and participation. And once again, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.